The portfolio reviews are back. Week 1 main slate in the books. We got lots to cover. I need to knock the cobwebs off for these portfolio reviews. Let me remember what we do. We go through our DraftKings lineups. We go through our Underdog Battle Royale lineups, do some winner circle stuff, see who's headed to the Dawg Bowl, see who banked some of these contests. We'll check in on the Guillotine Leagues. We'll do a little Monday Night Football preview. We'll check in on some best ball in Eliminator sweats. I know you guys are excited to check that out. And if you guys got questions about my experience in LA, happy to chop it up about that. Haven't gotten to talk about that yet. So we have lots of ground to cover today. I'm Pete. This is the portfolio review. Let's do it.
I suffer from a debilitating condition known as atropic chokitis.
Peter's one of the greatest depositors I've ever seen.
Trust the process. Let's go. Let's go.
I got auto matched with Levitan. This is bullshit.
If I just go the other way in that 66, I win all the money. All the money.
If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too.
Process over results.
Illuminati make a bitch go crazy. I don't know which one of these my baby. Bust down AP, close 5 bullets to your head like KD. Bust it, bitch go bust it. And I had 10 pints with me in Russia.
Hey everyone.
All right. How we doing? How we doing? I appreciate that Yosh says the intro never gets old because I never update the DFS one. That actually reminds me, Zach, if you're watching, we do got to, we could update the Best Ball Bros video, the stinger for next year. But yeah, maybe we'll have to record a new DFS intro at some point, but glad it holds up. Yes, apologies if this stream got sprung on you. Shady Advice had pointed this out. I had this scheduled for 1 p.m. because I scheduled it when I was in Los Angeles and was not doing my time zone math when I scheduled it for 10 a.m. So yeah, sorry if this came out of nowhere for you, but you can rest assured every single Monday morning from now until February, we'll be live at 10 a.m. Eastern for the portfolio review. And always a nice way to clear the decks after a busy Sunday. Hopefully some of you guys got to tune into the Shipcast yesterday. That was the debut of the Sunday edition of the Shipcast. And even though it was kind of a boring late slate of games, even though none of us had DFS sweats, I think we all universally agreed that moving the Shipcast from Thursday to Saturday was a winning decision. Just so much more to talk about. No commercials, bouncing around on Red Zone, spinning up pick'em. So that was a lot of fun. Myself, Pat Carane, Jacob Sanderson, Davis Maddock. That will be your companion stream every 4 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. Yeah, you know, Mike says this weekend has been emotionally painful. It was a weird thing. I mean, we were kind of talking it through on the Shipcast where, you know, the overall games, it was like a low scoring slate. Like we'll look through some of the winning lineups yesterday. There weren't many nuclear scores. You know, the premier game was yesterday, you know, Sunday night game when I was in bed by halftime. I was still catching up on my sleep. So woke up to missing the premier game of the week. But I would say for a lot of the rookies, a lot of the players we've been very excited about drafting all summer long, it was an awesome debut. You know, Tyler Warren and Harold Fannin leading their team in targets, Emeka Egbuka scoring 2 touchdowns, Bill ripping off a touchdown in a big run. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of taking a glass half full approach to week 1. But overall, I'm encouraged. Even Jaden Reed, a guy that I kept drafting. I finally stopped when the Jones fracture stuff came out. I was terrified about all my Jaden Reed bags. And then he looks pretty good. And sure, the wheels could come off there at any moment. But I'm just going to enjoy it while we have it. Because I thought he was going to be a 0 to start the season. Yeah, Tyler. So I am working on this. He says, wasn't able to watch the pregame show. Are we able to watch it back? Couldn't find it posted. I haven't been able to find it posted either. I did reach out to a couple of my contacts at YouTube. They said they're going to work on it. At the very least, I do know there's like some grainy clips of it. I know my guy Elliot over at Fantasy Life like recorded his television screen. So I could pull that clip, but I will hold out for a proper version. I know it exists. It absolutely has to exist. I don't think it got lost to the sands of time, although I would like it to get lost to the sands of time that I touted sitting Justin Herbert on global television while 16 million people were watching live. So maybe it is good that clip doesn't resurface, but I will try to track that down for some of you guys. I had to give you guys one Easter egg in there. Beastburf says, who had Pete saying Slappy minus 170? Yeah, I promise you the odds were far, far higher than that, buddy. That was like plus 1,000. I had a few jokes that in the initial script that the NFL was like, yeah, maybe don't do those jokes. So the fact that I got Slappy by, that was not minus 170, brother. That was like plus 1,500 that line didn't get edited out when they were reviewing the scripts. I do genuinely appreciate all of the kind words, like just incredible to log on after that experience and read all of your guys' messages and comments and tags and stuff. Like genuinely super appreciative. I'd like to say that I wasn't nervous, but man, when we were doing that final countdown and there's this element, you're in the studio, they're obviously going live in Brazil. You hear Kay Adams. We're watching her on the actual telecast as if I was just at home watching it. And then she throws it to me. It throws, and it's just this weird, surreal experience as if you're the consumer of it. And then you are just stepping into the production. Definitely was a mind fuck there. And I was glad to have been able to have a few of those spots at the beginning of the show where I was kind of tossing the questions to those guys, because that helped me loosen up. And then when I had my actual segment, I felt a little bit more calm and ready to go. And luckily had a few different rehearsals under my belt as well. So the fact that went off without a hitch was a huge, huge relief. It was one of those things where you're so excited for the opportunity. You want to like be in the moment and enjoy it, but you're also just kind of want to be done with it so it goes well and you don't have to keep thinking about it. So I was constantly like wrestling with this. Hey, just enjoy this moment. This is an insane opportunity. Soak it all in, smell the roses. And also like, let's just fucking get this over with so I don't mess this up. So again, thank you guys for all the support. It was truly, truly appreciated. It was like I was flying back on Saturday and still kind of in shock that all of it happened. And I can't say enough nice things about the crew over at YouTube and NFL. So basically YouTube used the NFL studios, used the NFL producers there. We were recording it right from the NFL studios, which are right next to SoFi Stadium. The producers over there, just pure class, world-class type stuff, like everything scheduled down to the minute, no detail left uncovered, just made me feel very comfortable and at ease throughout the whole process. So huge thank you to YouTube and NFL, and specifically Alex. Alex Piper is the one who reached out to me about doing this, and just can't say enough thanks to him for letting me take a crack at that. And while we got the good times rolling here, David gifting out 10 memberships. Let me see if I can pull this up. I think he tagged me on Twitter, had a nice bink yesterday. There was a bunch of you guys who had some nice scores that I saw. I have to scroll through a bunch of them just to find them all here. Here's David. Let's see if we can get this pulled up here. Get my overlays going. Haven't used this one in a while. Let's throw myself up here. Let's get this over here. But yeah, here's my guy, David, gifting the 10 memberships, won $1,000 here in the early slate onside kick. Very nice there. Nice little game stack with Baker to Emeka and Bijan on the bring back. Also had Connor and Trey McBride and Debo Samuel there. Fat Debo looking pretty good for a 300-pound man yesterday. But thank you for that, David. Very much appreciate it. Yeah, this is wild. Yeah, David says no skill player in the main slate over 25 points. Just nuts. I mean, there were weeks last year it was like, if you didn't have Jawan Jennings scoring 47 points, you couldn't win. If you didn't have Josh Allen going for 42 points, you couldn't win. There were basically like no had-to-have-it scores yesterday. I guess Igbuka was the closest thing, and even that was pretty muted. Love hearing this feedback from Trevor. Masterclass made me a much better player on Underdog. Shout out to you guys. Ready for the rest of the year. Yeah, it was awesome to get a bunch of feedback from those of you guys who took the class. There were even people like Finding Value here who get second place in the Big BR for $25K. And then I see Witten bought the masterclass after winning. It's like, I don't know if you need us, brother. Seems like you got it figured out. But congratulations there, Finding Value Fantasy, and to all of you guys. I know Car Park had a nice score yesterday. Josh McAtee, who bought the class, just a small volume there, but made some money there in the Engage 8. Our guy, who else did it? Paul had a nice score there. Back in the BR streets, shouting out the UD Masterclass. So if you guys are wanting to join us at the top of the leaderboards, check out the Underdog Masterclass. I have it pinned here in the chat, underdogmasterclass.com. But love hearing about all of the binks. Where does Keon Coleman move to on your ranks if you drafted today? So I didn't see the second half of that game. It sounds like he went off there a bit. Good to see. I always think about Leone when we were talking about Keon Coleman. He kept kind of pounding the table that the disparity between his and Ricky Pearsall's, ADPs didn't make much sense when you thought about kind of their year one production and their setup for success in year two. So I was really prioritizing Keon Coleman at the end of draft season there. And I think he could firmly move up right where that, 6th round batch of wide receivers was, where Ricky Pearsall was going, where the, Jerry Jeudy's and Chris Olave's were going. I think he certainly belongs there. GM. Yeah, you wanted an arf on the broadcast. Yeah, that's where we had to draw the line. Did I show Derek Carr my exposure to him pre-draft before he retired? I did not. I also don't know if I had much Derek Carr. It was very funny seeing a bunch of your comments. Like, I was drafting that guy in the big board and now he's sitting next to Pete. I did Derek Carr. So he plays in 2 fantasy leagues. He was showing me his teams. I mentioned one on the stream that we did on my channel on Thursday. And he had 100% Jaden Higgins. He was very into him. I got to ask him a lot of questions about the Saints. He had some really interesting comments just about like the younger wide receivers these days compared to the older ones. He could not stop glowing and gushing about Michael Crabtree. Like, that was his dude. And Derek Carr has thrown to some really good wide receivers, obviously Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, but he could not say enough good things about Michael Crabtree. He was telling us stories about how all the one-handed catches he would make in preseason in practices and stuff like that. He also got me excited about Kendre Miller. I was asking him, I was like, what's the deal with Kendre? And he's like, man, he got in the doghouse. He was still trying to get his feet underneath him, kind of learn the rigors of the NFL. But he's like, that dude can be a top running back in the NFL. So it was cool to get to pick those guys' brains. That was honestly one of the coolest parts about the experience, was just we had so much time in the green room, just kind of chilling in between things, in between rehearsals, tech stuff, all of that. And just getting to listen to those guys shoot the shit about football being a fly on the wall, getting them to talk candidly about Josh McDaniels. That was a real treat. There was a moment on my stream where Brandon did like a cough when he said Josh McDaniels, very much hinting that there was a lot more to it. Overhearing those guys talk, and not my place to air those conversations. But Josh McDaniels, persona non grata over there. Did I introduce myself to everyone on set as the Mr. Beast of best ball fantasy football? I did not. I think I at one point did describe best ball to those guys. I don't know if it stuck, but I think they conceptually understood that we had all been drafting lots of teams. Anyone here in chat for the first time because they saw Pete Friday? I would doubt it. I don't think I was converting anyone from global television into listening to me talk about my Eliminator advance rate. CH says that Thursday preview is awesome with all the different pros perspectives. Yeah, so in case you guys missed it, I got to do a stream on Thursday on my channel. And I would say we talked a little bit about the Thursday and Friday night games, but mostly evergreen conversation, just getting to talk to those guys about the current landscape of the NFL, the wide receivers they're excited about, kind of a wide-ranging conversation with those guys. I would have loved to have gone even longer. I got the thing from my producer about 45 minutes in and said, all right, yeah, we're about good. Let's wrap this up. And it was right when I felt like the conversation was starting to get a little loose. At the top, I'm just kind of asking questions, respond. And then they started having conversations and I was like, all right, now we're cooking. But we of course had time constraints there, but I got Brandon and Derek's number, and both of them are down to come on and do a show at some point. I don't know exactly what that show would be, but yeah, they were up for collaborating again in the future, which will be fun. Yes, exactly. Like a best man speech, honored but relieved when it's over. Exactly. Is there any chance it could happen again? I think so. I mean, the one main wrinkle is that YouTube just had the rights to the one game, right? You know, most of the other games owned by NBC, ESPN, CBS, Netflix has the Christmas games. Amazon has the Black Friday game, but who knows? In the future, I would say reading the reviews that people gave Netflix or YouTube for their production of the show, like very high reviews, because it's kind of, if you think about it, it's a tightrope walk that they have to do where they're trying to differentiate themselves from legacy broadcasts, right? There's no suits. You know, they're trying to showcase the YouTube talent. They're trying to bring in a much more global audience, people who are native to the YouTube platform. So they're trying out new things. Yet they also need to prove to the NFL that their product is in good hands. You know, the NFL has lots of kind of rules and expectations for their product. And if you mess that up, they're not going to be too eager to give you more games. And so walking that tightrope of let's innovate, let's do things differently, while also not getting too far out of line that we don't, you know, prove that we can do this more regularly. And from what I've seen, the reviews I've seen from, you know, media critics and stuff like that has been very favorable for how YouTube handled that. Yeah, Tuttle had quite the run in the Millie Maker. I think had a brutal beat at the end of the game, that Broncos-Titans game, which was unfortunate for him. And yeah, we're just going to be bouncing around a ton. I am way behind on the chat. I'm trying to scroll through and grab some of these questions here. But Brandon says, how long is the masterclass? I bought it, but haven't had time to watch or listen. I didn't add up the exact runtime of it. There's close to 10 hours in just masterclass roundtables, which are essentially podcasts with John, Nez, and I. And then the course itself, if you read it, I don't know, it depends how fast of a reader you are, but there is also audio, video versions of all of that as well. I would guess if you binged it straight through, about 15 to 16 hours. That's just like my guess, but maybe someone who's done it and has timed it could tell me. But that's about, and that would be at regular speed. You know, you can do 2x speed in your podcast app, so it'd be a lot shorter. So yeah, I'm not actually sure on that. Fan in tight end 3, tight end 4, and BR's week 2. At the end of the show today, we generally start to get some of the early contests up on Underdog. I don't know, have they released the playbooks and stuff yet? We could at the end of the show, we can start to go look at some of those prices. Wow, speaking of finding value fantasy, also gifting 10 memberships. Thank you, sir. Congratulations on your big BR hit. Finished second place for 25K. What the best feeling to get off to a fast start, man. Every week counts the same, and yet mentally getting that bank, getting that win at the top of the year, that feels so much better. Ashton Coates says, best week I've had in a long time, probably moving all my play to Underdog from Redacted. Yeah, as you can see here on the screen, I did not play much on DraftKings yesterday for a couple of reasons. One, I was short on time this week and was prioritizing maxing the BR, maxing some of those side contests. But yeah, if you guys missed it, I mentioned this in the Discord. I think I mentioned it in the P.O. Box newsletter. There is no Deposit Kingdom rake-free league on DraftKings this year. I did my annual thing, late August, early September. I messaged the one contact I have over at DraftKings. I say, how you guys doing? Any chance we can spin up that rake-free Deposit Kingdom League? I think we've been doing it for 4 to 5 years in a row. Normally they say no problem. How many entries would you like? What price point? And they said, sorry, sir. It's only for hashtag DK partners this year. And I am not a hashtag DK partner. So sorry about that. I do enjoy having a private link league in being able to gate it to just people in the Discord, just you guys. That was a nice feature to that league and getting to review those lineups. But yeah, they're not doing it for your boy this year. It is what it is. But yeah, I'll still review whatever lineups I end up playing. Yesterday, I just played one lineup And I'll pull that up here in a second once I get caught up on the chat. I appreciate that pen digging. I know. Trevor Arnold said you lost the global audience when you said to start Xavier Worthy, then he dislocated his shoulder on play 1. I completely mushed it. Little did I know that fucking Travis Kelce. How much friendly fire are these Chiefs going to endure? Just year after year, these guys just running into each other and taking each other out for the rest of the season. Have I seen a pop on your socials after debuting on live TV? I got some Twitter followers, maybe not as many as you would think. I mean, YouTube tagged me from their main account on Twitter and Instagram. I do appreciate these questions, but like I was even explaining this to my wife. It's like the kind of like I always think about this, right? Where it's like if you get an influx of viewers or someone, even Shady asking in the chat, is anyone watching this show who saw you on TV? Like if someone saw me on TV, are they going to want to come and listen to me talk about GPP plays, leverage plays, scroll down stuff, pick up sweats? It's like, I don't know. The audiences end up being segmented. I'm grateful for any additional exposure I got, but I don't really think about it in those terms. Like if someone subscribes to my channel because they saw me on TV, but never actually watches the channel, that's worth nothing. Right. So while it would be cool to have a spike in YouTube subscribers or whatever, I'd rather just have people subscribe who actually want to watch and consume this content. But yeah, it was a very cool opportunity, definitely cool from the exposure standpoint, but yes, not necessarily bean counting the new subscribers. Who knows the most ball, Brandon, Derek, or Matthew? I mean, they all know so much ball. Derek's like ability to break things down, and you guys saw it a bit on the broadcast, like listening to those guys talk about route concepts and just how the league has evolved and stuff like that. They all are very knowledgeable, but I liked how Derek was able to break things down. Let's see here. You can hit the masterclass in your podcast app. Yes. The second you purchase the masterclass, you will get a email from this audio service called Hello Audio, and it'll give you options to add. It's a private link, and you can add it to your podcast app of choice. So if that's Apple, whether it's Pocket Cast, if it's Spotify, you'll get a link, you add it, and then bam. And then the nice thing is then as we add videos and courses, like Nez added his process for 12-person in Dog Bowl drafts, he added his auto draft process. I then upload that to the podcast feed, and then that'll just get dropped into your feed as if it was any other podcast. So that is definitely a huge value add. Talk Sports says, I thought they would want your comedy side to shine more, like maybe some skits about fantasy. How do you like host a role on TV? I appreciate this, Greg. Unfortunately, I don't know if there is a global market for fantasy football comedy. I'd like to think that I tried to inject some comedy into my analysis. Like I said, I had 2 jokes in there that did get stripped. So you can tune in to the Swolecast tomorrow, where I do the Overzets overview, a place where no one will ever censor my jokes. But I honestly, I was surprised that there wasn't even more editing to my script. I mean, they let me make jokes about working at a Buffalo Wild Wings in college. And no one ever told me like, hey, why are you doing, like, they just let me do my thing. They said 2 jokes about Najee Harris, fireworks, and Rashi Rice in driver's ed school were not worth making. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to fight anybody on this. I'm just happy to be here. I'm not looking to ruffle any feathers. I'll make my jokes on the overview. The what? I said, what did I see you at the top of the what? I know you had a big hit yesterday. Were you in the fullback dive? Was it DeBomb? I know I saw you at the top somewhere, but I appreciate that. All right. Tim says, does being in TV make it easier now to explain to your father-in-law how you make your money? Yeah, I was telling people before this experience, there was one time, I think I've told this story before, where I went on WEEI radio, which is local Boston sports talk radio, on a Thanksgiving. This was like 3 or 4 years ago, and just did a fantasy segment. And my in-laws heard that. And that really validated, because before trying to say like anything that I'm doing made any sense whatsoever, it was hard to sell them on me doing something productive from a career standpoint. Being on WEEI validated that. They heard me on the Sunday morning on their radio in their kitchen. They're like, okay, phew, Lauren is married to someone who is competent enough to get on radio. I would say this finally did it. I got some very nice text messages from my father-in-law, from my mother-in-law. They were very proud, and I'd like to think I've finally earned their trust that I am not a deadbeat fantasy guy just hanging out in his basement all day. I also had another really funny story. I'll read you this. I get this email. This is on Saturday. And sorry, I know eventually we're going to get to the DFS stuff, but I thought you guys would enjoy this. I get this email from a guy named Pat Provost, and I had exchanged emails with him before, like multiple times, like about ship chasing stuff. Like 4 years ago, we exchanged stuff about Zed horses. You know, I had known Pat, and he sends me this email on Saturday morning or Friday morning. I just met your parents working in front of their house. He goes, I'm a project manager working on the Google Fiber project in front of your parents' home. I was sitting in my truck on a meeting on the computer and drafting on Underdog at the same time while your parents walked by with Underdog gear on. I rolled down my window because I had to ask why they were wearing the dog gear, and explained why I was there and how I was drafting while they walked by. They said, well, you probably know our son, Pete. Too funny. Anyway, just thought I'd let you know. Good luck this year. So then I text my parents, and I was like, I heard you just met a guy. And he's like, yeah, they followed us up the street, said he saw my shirt and he had been following you. It was so fun talking to him. And then this is the best part. My mom goes, I told him about your class. This Google Fi worker in front of my parents' house, and my mom starts selling him the master class. That's my mom. Always be selling. Always be selling. Incredible. So shout out Pat. And my dad has been very excited about that Google Fi project as well. So man, getting Google Fi installed by an Underdog sicko, what more could you want? All right, what more could you want? I want to do a coffee pour, and then let's actually talk some DFS here. And then we can get into it. Yeah, we were because when I went to it was the Dog Bowl in San Diego, the NBA Dog Bowl, and we made it a family trip. And, you know, Underdog at the Dog Bowls has all kinds of merch out. And a lot of times it doesn't even get, all of it doesn't even get taken just because there's so much of it. So I was like, you know, my parents were there. They were watching April while I was doing some of the Underdog events. So I just was grabbing stuff for them. And now my mom wears it almost exclusively on her walk. She's got this hat, I think the same hat, the I Know Ball hat in the shirts. And so she's always repping Underdog as she's walking around the Denver metro area. Glad to see we got a nice review on the pour here. All right, let's get into it. DraftKings lineup reviews. Like I said, I only played one lineup yesterday. Not going to be playing a ton of volume this year, although I do always say that week one, and then by like week 3, I'm like, but I really want to play these 3 different stacks. And then next thing you know, I'm playing more. But yesterday, I missed out on the Spy. That's generally the contest. My white whale that I'm trying to take down, the $100 single entry on DraftKings, that had filled by the time I registered, but there were still a couple of spots in the $100 Millie Maker. So I went ahead and entered that along with the red zone. I played just one lineup, and it did not do well. It did not do well. Let's see how it did in the the Millionaire Maker. I rolled out a Bo Nix double stack. I was looking through the Sims, looking at lineups, and this one popped out to me. I liked all of the plays here. I'll read it off for the audio listeners. It was a Bo Nix double stack. Spoiler alert, Bo Nix looked awful yesterday. Bo Nix to Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims. I did like the ownerships I got on those. Bo Nix, 4.1%. Marvin Mims, 1.9%. Cortland Sutton, 6%. Sutton had that nice touchdown catch, but otherwise a disaster of a game for Bo Nix. I initially liked my running back plays, Kamara and Connor, both in that same game. They were fairly popular, around 19.5% for Kamara, 24% for Connor. Drake London, he ends up leaving that game early. Seemed like he would have had a bigger game. He was fairly popular at 30%. I played Judy. Again, no monster score from him, 14.8%. Trey McBride, so I had the two Cardinals along with Kamara from that game. I did really like that game environment, but it never took off. He only scores 12 points. And then the Dolphins defense. Imagine being the gigabrain who played the Dolphins defense at 2.8%. So that was a snowflake, multiple snowflakes in this lineup, 96.44 total points. And we are on to week 2 from a DraftKings perspective. Fucking petty theft up here. Second place with the Danny Dimes. Definitely needed either Dimes or Fields up here. B. Mason takes it down. Fields, Bijan, Trevion Henderson. Wow. Puka Nacua, Ricky Pearsall, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Warren, Cedric Tillman, Broncos. It was either that Fields-Wilson stack or that Daniel Jones-Pittman stack got it done. No surprise here. Look at this kind of onslaught from Petty Theft for second place in here for 100,000. He goes Dimes, Pittman, JT, and Colts D in this contest. This contest had 27,777 entries, so definitely a little bit bigger than what I'm used to playing in the SPY. In the red zones, around 5,000. But another instance of these onslaughts getting home here. Is Leone coming on today? No, I have not booked Leone. But what if I gave you this? This is the ultimate reveal. Is Leone coming on today? Maybe I should say he is, because I am wearing my Leone Excel shirt right now. So in a way, Leone is here with us. But no, I would love if Leone wants to join for a little segment on Best Ball Breakfast. He's more than welcome to, portfolio review. But when we get to our Best Ball review, we can check in on those teams that I drafted with co-managers throughout the offseason. Matt says, I thought Petty retired. I thought he did too. These guys just can't quit. They just can't quit. Actually, I think he said he quit NBA because of how time consuming it is. And his process was like a, chess is okay level 80 hours a week process. And he just didn't have time for that. But NFL process, I don't think is near as involved. Yeah, Steven talking about Kittle getting hurt. That was a huge bummer because Kittle was going to go for 20 points yesterday. He had that early touchdown, leaves the game early with a hamstring. He was going to be set up for a monster game there. So that was certainly disappointing. Let's head over to Underdog though, and check in on things. I did not have a great day. It wasn't a disastrous day. I returned a decent amount in the Battle Royale streets, but let's go check out how this stuff shook out yesterday. Obviously hit on some of the winners there. Let's see if we can get this pulled up. Our core pick from Off and On the Clock, that did hit. Hopefully you guys have been watching that show. I think John retweeted it earlier in the day. So yeah, our core, we build a few pick'ems on Off and On the Clock every week. It will regularly be on Fridays going forward. We recorded early last week, but each of us just give one of our favorite picks for the core. We had Michael Pittman higher than 4.5 receptions, Judy higher than 4.5 receptions, and then Ollie Gordon lower than 28.5 rush attempts. So the core hits there, which is always nice. But yeah, let's check in on the main slate. I maxed the Battle Royale and I maxed the bomb and fullback dive. We're also going to check in on the Deposit Kingdom Weekly League here in a second. Got in the cover 4 and then just a couple other stray entries here. But let's see what took down the Battle Royale. Spike here, Spike 9771, a 50K shipper with Danny Dimes to Michael Pittman, Bijan Robinson, Devon Achane, Emeka Egbuka, Brock Bowers. And one of the new additions this year on Underdog, which I absolutely love, is once the contests lock or the games lock, you can see the ownership percentages for these plays in the contest. And you can see right here, I mean, this was a scroller's dream for this contest. And I think this is actually a really interesting lineup to break down from the perspective of how to draft. And up top, you know, goes Bijan, 3rd overall. That's right at ADP. Comes back and grabs Brock Bowers at pick 10, right around ADP. Then comes and grabs Achane at pick 15, close to ADP. And then scrolls for these other 3 picks, right? Emeka Egbuka's ADP of 34.7. They grab him at 22, completely throwing ADP out the window after pick 20. And this is something that we hammer in the masterclass. On these slates, there is generally somewhere from 6 to 10, 6 to 12, you know, elite players, guys that you would be happy to have any combo of, to have as many of those guys as a draft room will allow. And then there's a wide swath of players who all project similarly, but because 36 players have to get drafted, there are going to be ADPs and ownership percentages from some of those that don't reflect the true probability of them being in the winning lineup relative to the guys going after, you know, a pick of ADP. So being willing to scroll and getting past that pocket of trap players, a pocket that I lived in probably too much yesterday. I had a lot of Drake London, a lot of Mike Evans, a lot of T. Higgins, a lot of Cortland Sutton. Not that I think those guys were bad plays, but it illustrates even scrolling to that next tier to guys like Emeka Egbuka, 25% ownership, and then to Michael Pittman, you get this double whammy here of a low ownership stack. Danny Dimes, 6% drafted, to Michael Pittman, 1.35% drafted. That's the stuff scroll dreams are made of here. Week 1, the perfect slate to scroll. Things will get tightened up as we progress. Projections will get better. ADP will get more efficient. It will get harder to scroll without sacrificing a ton of projected points. But man, week 1, throwing the ADP out the window after the first 3 rounds, just perfect execution here by Spike with this. And even had the little bring back here. In some weeks, I think this bring back can actually hurt you. Like a score of 15 from Achane as a bring back on a normal week, there will generally be a couple running backs who go for 20 plus. And it's like, you're just sacrificing 5 points there with a 15-point score forcing the bring back. Week 1, such a low scoring slate, you get away with it. You get away with it. I wouldn't make a habit of doing a bring back like this personally in the large field BR. I think in the small field, this kind of style, this kind of approach would be perfectly acceptable. But this was a beneficiary of a really low scoring slate, because I don't think most weeks you're going to be able to survive only 15 points from your running back. Ownership percentage is cool to see, but it's going to help the field get better. Maybe. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think there is still an incredible anchoring effect that happens. And again, like, this ownership isn't populating in real time, right? Like, it's not like you're in the app and you see the ownership percentages. Also, in the course, we have a sheet for you guys where we put the corresponding ownership to the ADP. So we back tested this with historical slates, incredibly accurate as far as translating an ADP to a percentage. So you can essentially have this up and know in real time what the ownership percentages are going to be based on ADP. Obviously, there's nuances to it, right? If someone starts getting drafted at the end of the week and has an ADP of 15 because they're surging up the draft board, that's not going to be reflective of their true draft percentage for the duration of the contest. So there is some nuance there. But if a player has a similar ADP for the course of the contest, so say from Monday opening until Sunday lock, we're pretty good historically at knowing what that translates to from an ownership number perspective. And yeah, this is what I would say here. Most people won't know how to interpret ownership percentages anyway. And again, it does become really slate specific. Like, I do think week 1 was a specifically awesome slate for scrolling like this, because there is such a wide swath of, I don't know, projection volatility on these guys. That will get tightened up. Our projection providers, our rankers, our Leonis of the world will get very dialed in as they get more data points as the season progresses. So the slate dynamics, I think, will dictate how much you should be scrolling, how loose you should be getting as far as sacrificing projected points. But week 1, man, what an awesome time to let it rip. I had a few decent lineups going. I did not have much Pittman in the 6-mans. Here's my best lineup. It was a Daniel Jones naked, Bijan, Josh Jacobs, Puka Nacua, T. Higgins, Brock Bowers. So this was one, nothing fancy here. Just the Daniel Jones scroll. All of my other players, over 90% drafted here. I guess 85% there with T. Higgins. But yeah, I had a couple teams with like Adams that I thought were surging, some Kittle stuff, but no sweats for me. Honestly, recuperating 580 out of my 150 max was a pleasant surprise there, honestly. So I bricked out in the bomb. D. Wyatt took down the bomb with a Baker Mayfield without Igbuka. And again, what you need to win the bomb, a contest with only, how many entries were in this yesterday? 444 entries. It's just a much smaller number. So you can see here, 106.58, the winning score in the bomb versus 117.28 in the main there. They have a Baker Bijan kind of oppo correlation, a CMC JSN oppo, and then a Puka and Sam Laporta. JSN, pretty nice scroll there at 33%. He scores 14.9 points, but it's still kind of blowing my mind looking at all of these scores and how low scoring they are. Let's see. Grant says, I noticed I could see ownership in the BR, but not in the Engage 8. I didn't get in the Engage 8, but I mean, I'm looking at all of these contests right now and I see ownership. So I don't know if anyone can, was that an Engage 8 quirk? Because every contest I'm looking at, I'm seeing the ownership here. Let's check in on the Deposit Kingdom Weekly League. One of my biggest fails this week was only getting in my 1 entry. We drafted one on Off and on the Clock on Wednesday, and then I was planning on getting to my small field contest on Sunday morning, and you guys had already filled this. But shout out to JBallar. Is this the aforementioned? Jordan, did you gift these 5 memberships right as I was about to pull up your winning lineup? I'm just going to assume that JBallar and Jordan Ballard are the same guy. If so, congratulations. Takes down the Deposit Kingdom contest with a Baker Mayfield to a Mecca Igbuka, has Bijan as the bring back. Oh, and also has Bucky. So a little small field kind of onslaught here, and then has Cortland Sutton and Trey McBride. Love these kind of builds in these small contests. The Deposit Kingdom contest this week was 1,104 entrants and was able to have 4 players from the same game. And again, wouldn't recommend doing this in the large field BR. Ultimately caps your upside at each individual position, the more players you're kind of adding from the same team. But in this contest, Baker, Bucky, Igbuka, Bijan, you find the one game that had a decent amount of points. Grab a one-off with Sutton, who was a nice scroll there along with Igbuka, and jam the points at tight end. Easy game. Congratulations there, and thank you for gifting those memberships. We got Purple Yosh, who finished 4th. There he is, Steampunk Mario here. Also had the Baker, Igbuka, Bijan, Cortland Sutton. So this is the exact same team that Jordan had. Just a oh my God, you went double tight end. Double tight end. Was this an intentional or an accident? Brock Bowers at pick 10, and then what? McBride came back to you at 15, and you said, let's just do it. Wow, that's incredible. we reviewed the data for the masterclass, and the win rates, the top 0.1% win rates for double tight end were awful. Like were atrocious. But man, on a low scoring slate, being able to get away with that in a smaller contest there, not too bad. Not too bad. 2,400 entrants. I still wouldn't make a habit at a double tight end, but if you're going to do it, it better be with two of McBride, Kittle, or Bowers, right? Those are the guys that really have the chance to put up a score that could match some of the wide receivers you'd be passing over. Yeah, Joe says 11 of 12 main slate games went under yesterday. Super low scoring week. It really was. And I don't know the historical data off the top of my head, but anecdotally, I mean, week one, teams knocking off the rust, playing, contact football at a high level for the first time after a long layover. Like it makes sense why there are going to be some rustiness involved and why the games would be a little bit lower scoring. All right, let's see here. I don't know if there were any other. Let's see who took down the Badge Bros Brawl. I'm sure they'll cover it on their show today too, but always fun to see how much scrolling there. Look at the ownership percentages you get in the Badge Bros Brawl. Justin Fields, 1%. So for people who aren't familiar with the Badge Bros Brawl style, it's 3-person drafts. So this is like a scroller's paradise, and 1% Justin Fields, 0.27% Garrett Wilson. This is like a perfect Badge Bros Brawl lineup, right? You jam the best plays in the first 4 rounds. Bijan 100%, CMC 90%, Drake London 75%, Brock Bowers 99%, and then you just get a super, super low owned stack. Justin Fields to Garrett Wilson. I'm guessing Dimes to Pittman would have also gotten it done. Nice lineup by T-Word 10 there. Let's see here. I had my one Dog Bowl entry that I drafted with the Badge Bros off and on the clock on Wednesday. It actually was a decent team. It cashed. I had a Brock Purdy, CMC, Breece Hall, Tyreek Hill, Michael Pittman, George Kittle. So if I just had someone other than Tyreek Hill there, it maybe could have bubbled. There's no way it was going to win, but some familiar names up here. Of course, Dan. Let's see here. We had Dan, who I believe. What is this thing that keeps loading? Dan has been to the Dog Bowl. I believe it was the NFL Dog Bowl last year. Dan qualified. He sneaks one in here again. Justin Fields, Bijan, James Conner, JSN, Igbuka, George Kittle. So a little mini correlation there with JSN and Kittle, a little mini correlation with Bijan and Igbuka, a one-off James Conner, and a one-off Justin Fields. And this is always the toughest part about reviewing the Dog Bowl leaderboard, the Bubble Boy. There is no bubble that stings more than the Dog Bowl. And if you guys aren't familiar, this is the live final qualifier for Underdog. Top 3 win tickets to the live final, which is going to be in Kansas City this year in week 14. You'll compete for $1 million in prizes. Only 3 people can get seats each week. And there are cash payouts. League of Items does get $900 here. JT McKenzie, who I believe qualified for the NBA Dog Bowl, gets $1,000. So there's some money, but it does not soften the blow of being, just a few points away from punching your ticket. Like all of the value in playing this contest is in those top 3. It's in the seat. It's in the live final experience. It's in the equity of the prize pool at the live final. So my heart goes out to everyone who bubbles here. I also see my guy, Mark Zorner, up here was very close at the top of the leaderboard. Drap. Dan had another one in here. So yes, shout out to our winners, SportsAndHype, Ingle X, and Dan, of course, for heading to the Dog Bowl here. Let's see what the winning lineup had. We got to shout it out. Bill, man, that is crazy. Even in the Dog Bowl. So again, people not familiar, the drafts we were just looking at, those are 6-person drafts, 36 players drafted. So 6 rounds. These are also 6 rounds, but they're 12-person drafts. So 72 players drafted. Despite it being 72 players drafted, Bill drafted only 2.53% of the time, gets home for 14.2 points. This is just a one running back team. Fields, Bill, Puka, Igbuka. Where's Nez to do some Beach Boys? Puka, Igbuka. Garrett Wilson and Brock Bowers there for Sports and Hype. Takes it down. Man, it really is slappy summer, man. Arfing all the way to Kansas City thanks to a Bill late round selection. Congratulations to Sports and Hype. Bricked on 150, man. Yeah, 150 in the Dog Bowl. That is no joke. That is no joke. Takes a ton of time and capital to be able to get those in. But those of you who are firing, the good news is you still have plenty of weeks. I'm going to start getting more entries into the Dog Bowl as we get going. I'm personally excited about there being ADP. Having ADP really dovetails with my personal process with the 6-mans, and I'm excited to try to port that over to the 12-mans a bit. Definitely not my strength, though. I'm going to stay mostly focused on the 6-mans, but I am excited to start getting a little more dabbling in the 12-person drafts as I get settled in here for the 2025 season. All right, Brady's itching for us to move over to some best ball. I agree. I think that is what we are going to do right now. I'm going to pour a little bit more coffee here. We got 540 people watching for a Monday morning portfolio review. Seems good. Seems good. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, this show will be here every Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern, recapping the slate from a DFS perspective. And yeah, if you guys ever have suggestions, things you want me to check in on, go ahead and drop them in the chat and I'll do my best. But let's get a little more coffee and then we'll head over to the best balls. Ollie says, do they win 10K plus a ticket, or is it saying that the ticket's valued at 10K? They do win the 10K. That comes out of the prizes. So like the 10K is essentially like the min cash for making it there. You just get that paid out right away. So there are people who, if they don't get past the min cash, they don't get anything extra other than the trip to Kansas City. In the 10K, they get dropped in their account right away. So the dream is obviously you get your 10K, then you go and you finish higher in the money here. I can show it in the prize pool. Actually, no, this one, I'm going to have to go to the rules page to show this to you. Here you go. So you see here, 26 through 36 is 10K. So those drafters, if you finish in the bottom, 10 there, they're just going to walk away with what they received the day after they qualified. If you're 21st to 25th, you see this 12,000 here. You would essentially receive an extra 2,000 because you already received the 10,000 is how it works. So all of these prizes would be less than your initial 10K that you won. So it's baked in to the prize pools, but because you're locked into that, they're giving everybody that 10K right away, which is great because you get that stimmy and you lock in the seat. There you go. There's the finals EV is 37K. So if you add up your percentage chance of winning to the overall prize pool, the ticket comes out to a 37K EV. Obviously, a lot of that EV is going to be in the top, 5 to 6 prizes, but that is how EV is calculated. I believe Rakeback is coming soon. I believe Numi and Hope and those guys have said it's going to be here very soon. Maybe even this week, if I recall correctly. Jump Free asking about the best ball Rakeback. So yeah, that will be a nice stimmy as well. Joel, can you qualify for the Dog Bowl more than once? Yes. You can max out at 3 seats. You get 3 drafts, 3 total seats. So like once you've won 3 seats, then you can't do any more. Which has happened a couple of times, I believe. What was I going to do? Oh, I was going to head over to best ball. Let's do Eliminator first. I think Eliminator is the most fun thing to look at. I ended up I mentioned this. I mistimed my Eliminator stuff where I was like, I did like 30 drafts fast. And then I was like, fuck, I want to max this and I don't have enough time. So it was like, into July. And I was like, all right, I'm going to sign up for a bunch of slow drafts, but I was like, I'm going to leave some so I can do some more fast drafts later in August, essentially. But I mistimed it. So I ended up only getting in 145 entries instead of the 150. So my OCD for week 1 is going to be having a tough time, only 145 entries. But let's see. This is the first time I'm looking. So I'm going to load these all up. I believe we were talking about the best way to figure out how many you're advancing by doing the Control F once I get these all loaded. And then we can see. All right, I think I have these all loaded. Let's do a Control F ADV 80 out of 145. 80 out of 145 there. So I will take that. Someone was asking me on Twitter what's expected. Baseline is just 50%. So if you maxed it 150, 75 is good. Anything less than 75 is below expectation. Anything over 75 would be above expectation because it's 6 of 12 advance out of week 1. So 80 out of 145. Obviously, we still have one game to go tonight. Chicago, Minnesota. That's going to flip some of these, but feel good about that. Let's see my big elims here. Big Eliminator. Oh no, that seems good. Let's see. What are we at here? 8. Okay, yeah. 8 of 10 in the big elim. That feels good. I have one in dead last place. What is this team in dead last in the big elim? Baker, Caleb, Tua. Oh, Gibbs, Aaron Jones, Ramondre, Bill, Mostert. Oh, man. I talk about a brutal day for my Truth Serum take. So on the Deposit Kingdom video, I had my Truth Serum take. It was Genty was going to be a bust. And I was talking about how Pete Carroll's going to love to use Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert, not even active. Not even active week 1. I did start to take him just at the end of a couple of these Eliminator drafts at the end. But that True Serum take is looking awful. There were some interesting surprise scratches yesterday. Obviously, Chris Rodriguez, the other pretty big surprise scratch there. Oh, but yeah, AJ Brown, 0 points. Xavier Worthy. Okay, yeah, get this team off my screen. No wonder this team sucks. AJ Brown, Xavier Worthy. The tight ends. Hunter Henry, okay, had 8.6. Chig did nothing. Mason Taylor. But I cannot complain. If I get 8 of these big elims, obviously it's a different advanced structure for the big elims than it is the other one. It's 10 of 12. So I'm actually probably, what's my expectation there? I'm 8 of 10. So 80%. I'm actually slightly below expectation in the big elims, but whatever. We can survive that. All right. I don't really know what else to look at. I mean, like, what's interesting to look at for you guys? BBM. Is BBMDB up and rolling already? Here we go. Man, the site got a little makeover. PD's been doing work. All right, these are my exposures. Does he have the teams? Am I using this site wrong? Does he not have the advancing teams up? Huh. Am I doing this wrong? Okay, leaderboard isn't up yet. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything. All right, what am I advancing right now? 27 of 150. 27 of 150, 18%. So I'm like right at expectation, right? Just over expectation, 16.6%. I'm at 18% right now with Best Ball Mania. Let's see. I did a couple of big dogs. Oof. These aren't, how are we doing, Charlie? This doesn't look good. Not a good start here. Well, Hurts and Bo Nix, HN, RJ Harvey, Montgomery, Tootin, Blue, Benson. Oh yeah, Nico. There's the question. Nico kill anyone else yesterday? Yeah, that was bad. He had an interesting ADP. We were talking about it on Ship Chasing. He did not project well. A lot of projection systems did not like him. Like pure projection versus ADP, he looked like one of the most overvalued players on the slate. I IK-beat it in the other way. Like I included Nico as part of that elite tier that I want exposure to in BR slates regardless of the projection. There are spots like this that will pop up. You know, a main dynamic that happened a lot last year was Barkley wouldn't project as well as you would otherwise think because touchdowns had to be accounted for Jalen Hurts in the tush push. And so if you were just using rankings and projections, you would always be behind on Barkley. And yet we know the way this game is played, the way we are chasing ceiling in these outlier performances, that the median projection, even the ceiling projection, isn't everything. And so it is up to you as a discerning fantasy player to say, hey, these are spots I want to IKB the projection because I know there is a 30-point ceiling here. I think we all agree that Nico has that ceiling, and I was okay sprinkling him in. And because if you didn't sprinkle him in and you were just using rankings or projections, you'd have 0%. I do think it's interesting that his ADP held so high for most of the week, considering that the projections and rankings were trying to bury him. But drafters just kept taking him in a way that kept his ADP steady. But yeah, generally how I play those spots is I do want to lean into the projection, but I'm not going to accept it fully as gospel. I'm still going to mix in players. Malik Neighbors was similar as well. He wasn't projecting as well as his ADP indicated. We know Malik Neighbors has a monster ceiling that he can access. So I'm okay IKBing projections for alpha superstar players who I think are capable of scoring 25 plus points on a slate. Jamar kilt me more. Yeah, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, that entire Bengals team. It's just the same shit with those guys year after year. How many week ones, week 2, week 3, start of the seasons do we have to see them just look like absolute dog shit? It really is unacceptable at this point. I'm shocked that Zach Taylor still has a job. What are they? Are they like 1-5 in week 1? It's crazy. This is a good point about the Nico stuff. Christian Kirk being out kept him there. I agree with you from a market perspective. I think that's silly because it's just like Nico is Nico. Like Nico's getting his targets. You know, Christian Kirk impacts Jaden Higgins. Christian Kirk impacts Dalton Schultz. Christian Kirk doesn't impact Nico Collins. Like Nico's going to get his regardless of who is out on the field. But I do agree that the market saw Kirk out and says, "Oh, all right, I got to jam Nico." 7 yards in the second half, lowest of any team this decade. Incredible. Matt says, what was it about the projections that held him down? I honestly don't know. I know people didn't like the matchup. I think expecting the Rams secondary to be fairly good. I don't think there was a giant team total or game total there, but I honestly don't know why he didn't project better. All right. Yeah. Are there any, we can look at my exposures. I feel like it's funner to look at like Eliminator exposures right now, honestly. Man, I had not looked at this yet. You know, I was finishing up all my slow drafts. And so this is the reveal to me for my Eliminator exposures. Like I knew my BBM exposures. I had not looked yet at my Eliminator exposures. I knew I was going to have a shit ton of Troy Franklin because I was just click there down the home stretch. 29% Troy Franklin, 23% Aaron Jones. Excited to see him tonight. Somehow ended up with 22% Dalton Kincaid. I was slurping up the Luther Burden Dipperino even in Eliminator because he was just so cheap. Hunter Henry, Wan'Dale Robinson, Eckler, I was clicking. Josh Downs, Christian Kirk hurts. You know, the whole thesis of the play is you're getting that early season production from Christian Kirk. Jatavian Sanders. What did Sanders end up with yesterday? Did he have any targets? I mean, I know that entire Panthers offense looked like dog shit. I don't even know what his stat line was. 2 for 27. What a disastrous day for that entire offense. As someone who was high on both the Panthers and the Jags this year, that was a pretty disappointing week 1. And I know they had the weather delay and shit. But man, that hurts. Here's another one I'd like to get rid of. Cooper Kupp, 16.6%. The Justin Herbert bags are nice. Nice to see DeAndre Hopkins score a touchdown last night. Tracy looked bad. I mean, the entire Giants running game looked bad, but Tracy did not look good. Pacheco, he's going to need some time because Kareem Hunt was very involved. Dobbs, feel fine about that. Reed, I had too much Reed early on and then stopped. But that actually feels like it could work out. Harvey, Hampton, Goddard, Otten. Harold Fannin at 14.5% in a limb feels good. Let me see my BBM. Tootin, Shipley, Sampson. Sampson looked awesome yesterday. He's going to have a really nice PPR floor. Xavier Worthy, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Have we still not gotten an injury update on Worthy? Do we have nothing? How do we not have anything on Xavier Worthy yet? I get more and more nervous the longer we go without an update. What are they saying? Is there any updates here? This doc thinks without surgery, average return 3 weeks, 50% re-injury rates. I mean, if he's only out 3 weeks, that'll be just a joyous celebration. All right. All right. I guess we will wait for official Xavier Worthy news. Let's see here. Anyone, is there anyone's exposures you want me to look at? Whose exposures? We'll look at a few different exposures. Who is someone's exposures you want me to look at? Check out some Derrick Henry exposures. I want to see what I ended up with Henry. I want to say I was right. Yeah, I was right at the field, 8%. Shout out Michael Leone. 12 Derrick Henry teams. Definitely not enough, but better. It's progress. It's progress for me. You guys want to see the Chess Liam? Oh, that's not where Chess Liam goes. Type their actual usernames in the chat for me. Like I can't even remember. It's like hit them with the gritty 69. Somebody type the actual thing in if you want me to look at it. Wow. Wait. Let me see here. Okay, here we go. I love this man. James Cook, Dalton Kincaid, Keon Coleman. Followed by Colston Loveland, Johnny Smith, Jalen Warren. Cedric Tillman, man, he looked good yesterday. Hunter Goff, Shakir, Olave. I love it, too, because you just know that Shakir would have been top 4 if he hadn't gotten hurt. And then, he took his feet off the gas a little bit because he wanted 4 Bills at the top. What is what's his full name? What hit him with the gritty? Do I need to go to his Twitter to find this? what is it? Mike. I can't even find his name. What is, there he is. All right. Hit him with the gritty 18. All right. This is for you guys. Ramondre. What was Ramondre's touches yesterday? Seven for 15. Man, what an awful game for the Patriots too. 5 for 27 for Hendo, 7 for 15 for Ramondre. Henderson catches 6 for 24. Ramondre catches 2 for 12. Ramondre, 80 Mitchell. Sam Laporta. How do we feel about 80 Mitchell? Like, on the one hand, the Colts looked awesome. On the other hand, he's still pretty clearly behind Alec Pierce. Michael Pittman, 6 for 80. Warren, 7 for 76. Alec Pierce, 1 for 36. I guess he had 2 catches. I think he's probably just bullish overall on the Colts offense looking so good. Fields at 50% Fields. That's going to look nice. QJ at 36%. Lamar at 36. I can't hate on these. I can't hate on them. Ramondre and 80 Mitchell were cheap. Fields is a good pick. QJ's looking like a nice pick. Lamar's an awesome pick. You guys want to see Mathology? Is this scooping Mathology Mondays on the Flannelverse if I look this up? Keenan Allen, Brock Purdy. Look at that exposure stance. 42% Keenan and then down to Brock, Debo, Lamar, Dobbins, Allen, Flowers, Eckler, Daniels. Very nice. All right, let's I want to check in on some Guillotine leagues here. Ended up in 4 or 5 Guillotine leagues this year. We did one with ship chasing at our meetup in Florida. Did one with the Deposit Kingdom that I streamed on the channel. Did one with the Fantasy Life crew. And then I did one with the LA Elite, the Tom Everett Scotts, a shadowy cabal of Hollywood screenwriters, people that I'm sure are secretly members of the Church of Scientology. Scott Fish is in there too. JJ. Let's see here. Who's going to get the chop in the ship chasing league here? Well, your boy in first place. Unfortunately, first place does nothing for Guillotine. In Guillotine leagues, you just don't want to be last. We got Jay Fresh way down here at the bottom. Let's see. I got to move the thing real quick so you can see it. Man, Jay Fresh, one of the sharpest DFS players in the world, but not one of the sharpest Guillotine players in the world. Let me see my team here. Oh, and I still have Caleb to go tonight, but I had Bijan, James Cook, Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf, Evan Ingram, Chris Olave, Javonte. Javonte in a Guillotine league. That's where I got my Javonte exposure. Very nice. Let's check in on the Deposit Kingdom League. In this one, are you kidding? It's like your boy knows how to play Guillotine. First place, me and my guy League of Items co-managed this team, co-drafted this, sitting in first place here. Who's going to get the axe? Why isn't this one showing the projected axe? The goose and SVY down here going to be battling it out tonight. Let's see. It does look like it's going to be the goose. We're going to lose the goose tonight if I'm reading this correctly. Let's see my team. Herbert, Barkley, Breece Hall, Travis Hunter, Debo, Evan Ingram, Trevion Henderson, Keon Coleman. Yeah. I'm telling you, these I treated very similar to the Eliminator, just running back heavy. Started these drafts with every single one I started with 3 straight running backs. and then piece together everything else. Let's see how I'm doing in the Hollywood Elite League. All right, I'm in 4th place in this one. Scott Fish in 1st. Oh, no, Paul Chark, the inventor of the Guillotine Leagues, the man who created the site, could get chopped there. What's my team looking here? Jordan Love, Jahmyr Gibbs, Breece Hall, Zay Flowers, Jalen Waddle, Brenton Strange, Trevion Henderson, Josh Downs. I drafted the slot demon himself, Christian Kirk, on 2 of these teams, only for him not to play week 1. The entire thesis of the play, Mr. Slot Demon, was that you would play early on before our wonderful titular song man himself, Jalen Knoll, hunts you down. Let me see my fantasy life league here. I am in middle of the pack here in this one. Looks like Kelsey, one of our producers, might get the chop. Here's another one where I started with a bunch of early running backs: Jonathan Taylor, Bucky Irving, Tony Pollard. Do I have an extra quarterback on this one? I don't know if I want to. Oh, I have Cam Ward along with Trevor Lawrence. Locked wagers. Everybody, if you want to go look at exposures, it's bbmdb.app. Shout out Patrick Donovan, aka PD. If you enjoy the site, toss him a little tip. Where's the tip jar? You still have the tip jar up here? PD, you overhauled the site but got rid of the tip jar. What are you doing, dude? Where is it? Put it back up, bro. Put it back up. All right. What should we do? Should we take a look at tonight's Monday Night Football game? I have a confession, guys. Before the game last night, I did make a pick'em and I didn't share it and it hit. And look, I'm a big believer in this. If you make a pick'em and you don't share it, you can't talk about it. And I just broke that rule, but I just couldn't help myself. Okay. I did have one that hit. I was like right before I was about to finish writing the newsletter. I was like, I just got to get something in here. I just did a cheeky little 2-person slide here. Zay Flowers, higher than 99.5 receiving yards. Keon Coleman, higher than 79.5. Woke up to that little cha-ching. Oh, no better feeling than waking up to that cha-ching. No better feeling. Let's see if we can recreate it tonight. Let's see if we can do it. Monday Night Football. Give me some ideas. Give me some ideas. I have not read any breakdowns of this game. I have not looked into the cornerback wide receiver matchups. I'm coming in with a completely blank slate. I do always like looking at the Fantasy Life Pick'em tool. What do we got here? Do we not have the Pick'em tool this year? I might have to ask about that. Last year it was under DFS. Interesting. Interesting. All right, we might have to raw dog it. We could look at Run the Sims. I know Run the Sims has the prop sniper. All right, what do we see in here? Man, dude, is this how you mitigate tilt as a Luther Burden bowl? Do you bet Olamide Zaccheaus? I honestly think I need an Olamide higher tonight. If Luther Burden's only going to run like 6 routes, then I need some Olamide. Look at this. 16.5% Prop Sniper likes him to 18.5. I'm serious, guys. You Bird and Bulls need to join me on this Olamide hire. Thank you, Nez. Nez gets it. Holy shit. This is already up to 23.5. I might still just have to do it. This is just, you guys don't have to do this if you don't want. This is for me. As someone who's going to want to see Luther Burden out on the field, at least when Olamide is cooking tonight, I can rest easy that I have him in my pick'em entry. Never mind. Take it out. Take it out. All right, what else do you guys got? I am not doing a week 1 best ball draft right now. I am sorry, Ollie. Mason Tutty. Caleb over 225 yards. Here's my thing, guys. One of the, Jacob had it as his true serum take. I am terrified of this Bears team. Like I'm worried that the Bears are going to look like the Panthers and the Jags did yesterday. I think I'd rather play this through the Vikings. Someone mentioned the let's look at the TDs for the game tonight. Getting plus money on Jefferson, plus money on Jones. Jordan Mason's 1.22x. I do like that. Jordan Mason, Tutty. JJ Ladder, McCarthy rushing yards, Loveland first quarter receptions. A Dunze for a TD. I'm not doing that. You guys are sick with these Monangai. That's best ball brain. That's best ball brain. All right, see, Nez is actually coming prepared here. Caleb lower INT is more than 1x or over. Wait, let me see here. Nez, are you saying higher or lower than 1 INT? Lower than 1 INT, and he had 6 all of last season. All right. All right, at home. You guys like Hawk? Hawk at 69.5. That seems like a big number for a tight end. Oh, no. Hawk. Oh, you slid it. Okay, I was going to say 42.5 is the. JJ's line is 14 yards lower than his career average. Yeah, and honestly, the Jefferson stuff, I'm mostly concerned about when Addison's playing because Addison is a dog. But without Addison in tonight, this gets us up to a 12.44. All right, so let's see here. 4 picks at a 12.44. Should we slide some of these? Take Jefferson up to like 90? Or is that just getting greedy? How hard could getting 100 yards be? Keon Coleman did it. Well said. Apparently pretty hard for most of the NFL wide receivers yesterday. I mean, looking at some of the yardage totals for running backs, wasn't Bill like literally 5th in rushing yards yesterday with like 82? It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Let me go to oh, these are the fantasy finishes here. Let me go look at player stats on Fantasy Life. Running backs, rush yards. Derrick Henry 169, ETN 143, Breece Hall 107, Bill 4th. Bill fourth with 82 yards. Dude, that Gibbs line yesterday was hilarious. 9 rush attempts for 19 yards, and then had 10 targets, 10 for 31. And then let's see the wide receiver yardage. Zay leading the way. Puka, JSN, Keon Coleman, CeeDee Lamb, Pearsall, Kayshon Boutte. Put some respect on his name. 7th. 6 catches for 103 yards. All right. Let's get back to the pick'em here. Aaron Jones over 16.5 receiving yards. Make this a 5-pack. That gets us up to a... Let's take the Jefferson back down. Oops. Yeah, let's take the Jefferson back down. And then this is a 24. People are mentioning this Olamide one's high. Let me get this lower. Let me get this down to 14.5. Then this get... Okay, I did it. This is it. We just got the sweet spot. The 20Xer here. So we lower Olamide down to 14.5. Jordan Mason scores. Caleb Williams avoids an interception. Justin Jefferson clears 78.5 receiving yards, and Aaron Jones clears 16.5. Is that a shipper? Is that a shipper? I need to see if I have any boosts on my phone. Yeah, man, the Packers look good. I wonder, like, almost too good on defense. I'm like, is Jordan Love going to be able to cook if their defense is just legit? All right. We got to get, hey, Underdog, we got to be able to get these promos on desktop. Let me share this with you guys. I'll just do $1 so I can generate a link, and then I'll do my real entry on my phone. Oh, yeah, I see the 40% boost in the lobby. So let's here's a link if you guys want it to grab this. And I am going to pull this up on my phone so we can get this booster. So we can get this booster. Just did the most boomer thing ever. Had to send myself an email with an Underdog link. All right, so there you go. In the lobby, there's the 40% boost. So that'll take this from a 19X to a 27X. All right, we're letting this rip. Maxing it for $50. All right, good luck to us. Good luck to us. For the audio listeners, it's Olamide higher than 14.5 receiving yards. Jordan Mason scores a tutty. Caleb Williams lower than 0.5 INTs. Justin Jefferson higher than 78.5 receiving yards. Aaron Jones higher than 16.5 receiving yards. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. What do we have? Do we have anything in the lobby yet? Also, the boomer thing would be to send a picture of a QR code. Yes. Oh, that's the other thing we can check in on too. I knew I was going to be forgetting something. Our Splash Survivor contests. So we're going to be doing these over on the Swolecast. Swolecast TD Survivor. I think I cleared all of these. Where are my entries? Oh, here we go. Those are the standings. Yeah, so I had Connor and Ford. So for week 1, so if you guys haven't seen the Swolecast TD Survivor, it's pretty cool in that, same idea of picking teams for a Survivor, but you're picking players to score touchdowns. And then in week 1, the one wrinkle is that you could pick 2 players. So you basically had 2 cracks at it. In subsequent weeks, you'll only be able to pick 1. All of mine advanced because I had a James Conner Ford. So Connor scored, Bijan and Taylor. Bijan scored. And then a Chase Brown, Josh Jacobs. Those guys both scored there. So that's the Swolecast TD Survivor League. I did put one in their big Survivor contest. I just chalked it up with Denver, which is honestly probably bad for a contest that big. I am not a Survivor game theory bro quite yet, but I will need to become one quickly. Who did I pick for Davis's? Davis, I did the Rams in that one. I was hedging a little bit there. But we're going to have some fun weekly contests with Splash on the Swolecast as well. They're going to be like spinning up like legit new game types for us. So that'll be cool. So make sure you guys are watching the Swolecast for that. I also wanted to just show you guys, I had tweeted this and it probably got lost in the shuffle a little bit. Just wanted to highlight my in-season schedule now that that's all firmed up here. And then after that, maybe we could do like a prime time lineup. Oh, the Battle Royale is already up. So we could do a first look Battle Royale draft as well. But let's do the schedule here. I also wanted to set up for Davis. I think Davis is going live after this. I'll give him the redirect if you guys give me a second to set this up for him. And then, so yeah, schedule this year, mostly similar to last year. There's a few different tweaks here. Let me zoom in so you guys can actually read this. I did put this in the Discord. You can find it on Twitter if you want. So Sundays, we're going to have the usual GPP cram, 10:30 a.m. That is for YouTube members of the highest tier, hand builders and opto bros. I should mention an additional value add for YouTube members at that highest level this year is going to be my hidden gems that I made for Deposit Kingdom videos last year. I'm doing those in text form for YouTube members this year. So this is what it'll look like if you guys are YouTube members. It'll look like this. So you'll see this members only. I'll go through my week 1 gems. You'll look here, my naked gems, Daniel Jones and Justin Fields. That worked out well. Fringe scrolls, James Conner, Kyron, Kamara. Deeper scrolls, Walker, Pollard, and Chuba Hubbard. Wide receivers, I had Judy, Adams, Metcalf, and JMO. Tight ends, Kraft, Ertz, Ingram, Otten. So some hits, some misses in there, but this will be part of the perk for those of you who are hand builder and opto bros. In addition to that, like I said, you'll get the cram on Sunday mornings. We go through the full slate ownership perspective, build some lineups, look at the sims, all of that good stuff. We also do, my favorite part of that, honestly, is I pull everyone watching for your favorite picks at each position, and it ends up being a really good sentiment index for where ownership is headed, specifically in the small and medium field contest that most of us play. Sunday afternoons, 4 p.m., Shipcast every week. Davis, Jacob, Pat, myself will be going live with the 4 p.m. games. Monday, we obviously have the portfolio review. This will be, 90 minutes to 2 hours, depending on the day. Tuesday, we got Swolecast at noon, the premier first look show. Tuesday afternoons, I record the Fantasy Life LG show. So if you ever, if you have an LG TV, I think someone tagged me in something like this here. Someone saying they couldn't get away from me. But I do this show. Here you go, Jay Webb. If you have the LG TV, you can check out that Fantasy Life show. I'm going to be doing that every Tuesday. On Thursday, here's where we have a couple new shows. So on Thursdays at noon, I'm going to be doing a show on the Fantasy Life YouTube channel, and I'm calling it a DFS Jam. And I'm just going to be drafting some Battle Royale teams. I think I'm going to use my randomizer wheel and spin and do some challenges, like stuff like you have to do early QB, or you have to take 3 wide receivers, just like, stuff that pushes out of the comfort zone, but still building sound, logical teams. It'll kind of be my first look drafting Battle Royale teams for the week, because I'm going to do my research for BRs on Thursday mornings. And so you can come hang out and I'll draft teams there on the Fantasy Life YouTube channel and kind of get my bearings on the slate while having some fun. We'll have lulls at 1:30. And then the other new show, you guys have heard me mention this. I had so much fun doing Best Ball Bash in season. So we are going to convert that to the Battle Royale Bash. The Battle Royale Bash will take place Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Everyone will be able to watch, but the chat will be gated to just YouTube members. So in the same way the Bash functioned, I'll do a hashtag in there and I'll spin the wheel. And the nice thing about the Battle Royale Bash is we can get more people on stage, and we could do maybe a few different contests as well. We could do a dog bowl thing if we want to do a few longer ones there. We'll see where the show takes us, but we will be able to get way more of you on camera drafting with me. And then Friday, we got essentially a doubleheader, I guess triple header if you break out the two shows. Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, block party with Jam to Win. You guys all know that. 2 p.m. At the end of the block party. This will all be within the same video, the same show. But then the Bully the Sim show, it's going to be with Utical in a rotating cast from the in-game syndicate. So this past week, Brick joined me. Some weeks Nerdy will join me. Some weeks Ship My Money, maybe Davis. You know, we'll get these guys rolling through here and kind of focus on the slate through the Sims angle. But Yuta, so much ball knowledge too. I think that Jam to Win Yuta pairing is going to be a pretty sick 1-2 punch. And then 3 p.m. off and on the clock with John and Nez walking through the slate from an underdog perspective. Those 1 and 2 p.m. shows will obviously be more salary cap focused. And then Saturday night, didn't have one this past week because I was traveling back, but we will have After Dark for YouTube members as well. So a ton of value in the YouTube membership. They are nested. So if you're a hand builder, Opto tier, I think it's $7.99 a month. Yeah, $7.99 a month. You get one cram a week, Sunday mornings. You get the DFS After Dark on Saturday nights. It'll be a mix of me doing some solo shows, building teams, drafting teams, also bringing on guests. You get access to the Battle Royale gems that I'll post on Thursday afternoons. You get access to the private Discord and the Deposit Kingdom channel, and you get access to the Best Ball Bash. So I don't know. It is a ton of perks and content for just $7.99 a month. If you guys want to join the channel and become a hand builder and Opto bro. If you're not interested in the cram, you're more of a best ball bro, just like the interviews and stuff, you can get access to the After Darks with the Best Ball Value Hounds tier. In addition to that, from a written perspective, I'll be writing the newsletter, Fantasy Life newsletter, 5 days a week, Sunday through Thursday. That's free in your inbox. And then I'll also be doing a DFS column for Fantasy Life that will populate on Fridays as well. So that is my full rundown. Nothing Wednesday. Wednesdays are my days with April. So Wednesday is my day off, Wednesdays and Saturdays. Mostly just Wednesday, though, because I do that show on Saturday night. All right, let's do a little perk here. Let's do a little perk. First look, I should say. First look at the Battle Royale drafts here. Let's see. Imwald said it was $10.99 a month when I upgraded. That should definitely not be the case, sir. Should definitely not be the case. Let me see if I switch an account. Let me go to my Deposit Kingdom account and then see what it looks like when I hit join. But it should not be. I have not changed the price on this. Yeah. It says $3.99 for randomizer royalty, $4.99 club VIP, $6.99 best ball value hounds, hand builder, $7.99. So I don't know. You got to check in on that. I don't know if it's something like it was prorated or where it was charging you for part of the new month. I don't know, but it should only be $7.99. So let's make sure we get you squared away. Okay. Let's do a first look Battle Royale. Let's do a first look Battle Royale here. This is truly a first look. People were joking about where Harold Fannin would be. I'll tell you right now, David Njoku at 32.5 is a generationally bad ADP. And it's a twofold thing, right? It's not that David Njoku is dead. He still had a decent amount of targets, but it's one, he's now fighting for targets with another very talented tight end, but he also falls in the exact range that I typically like to fade tight ends and BRs, right? As the tight end 5, he's going to have 75, 80% ownership if this holds. So David Njoku, I will say at first blush, is a pretty easy fade. Look at Lamar here. Lamar, the 101 on the slate coming off of last night. I think these guys will probably move down a little bit as the week progresses. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting dynamic. Baltimore at home versus Cleveland, Josh Allen at New York Jets, both top 5 quarterbacks that people weren't able to draft on the slate last week. So I understand there's going to be enthusiasm for those guys here today. Let's see what Mitch Comp does here. He goes Derrick Henry. I think I will buy the dip on Jamar Chase. The dip. I mean, the 101. I'm not really concerned about him at home versus the Jags. We'll stick with Jamar Chase here. And I'm not going to end up doing a ton of drafting early week. That's just kind of my process for BRs. But that's one benefit too, is I do think the quarterback prices should get a little cheaper as the week progresses. All right, this is a good note on the YouTube membership. It costs more on your phone because iOS taxes you 30%. That's insane. So yeah, and I've also heard if you guys are syncing your YouTube membership with the Discord, there's always issues with mobile for that. It's not a mobile-friendly experience as far as the sync goes. So it sounds like my recommendation, if you are upgrading or becoming a YouTube member, do it on desktop. Do it on desktop. You don't get the extra charge. Then you can go right into the Deposit Kingdom Discord and sync that up. If you guys are unfamiliar with that process, or if you aren't in the Deposit Kingdom Discord, there is a link in the show notes. You go into the Deposit Kingdom Discord, there's an FAQ section in there. Within the FAQ, there are concrete instructions on how to sync your YouTube account and your Discord account that will unlock the specific channels based on your membership level. So I know it is 2025 and we should be able to do most things on our phone, but I guess in this case, we should keep it desktop. All right, Davis, your redirect is set. Davis will be going live after this for the fantasy football bag check. I like that name, Davis. I like that name. Who else drafted and started Harold Fannin? Brother, I mean, there's a reason we were all pretty excited and giddy on the Shipcast yesterday, because we have a shit ton of Bill, a shit ton of Fannin, and holy cow, week 1 could not have been better for those two guys. I don't know how it could have possibly have been better for two of our slappiest picks across our portfolio. Do I want to do the game stack? Or should we grab Hurts here? Hurts feels like underpriced relative to, I mean, if Jackson's going to go 3, Allen's going to go 5. Let's do Hurts here. What do you think about Judkins' rest of season? Sampson's receiving was great, but rushing efficiency was awful. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be the lead back. We talked about this a little bit on the Shipcast. I wasn't calling Judkins a winner based on how that stuff worked out. The fact that Sampson looks so good as a pass catcher, I think is a little concerning for Judkins' like true ceiling. But yeah, he's going to be the lead back. He's going to get the goal line carries. Let's see here. Do we want to deal with the Dolphins mess, or should we just grab Puka? Puka's fine, right? He came back in, he left, came back. Puka's a guy that's probably going to be like a top 7 or 8 pick on most slates going forward. So if people are, a little worried about him after getting banged up, we'll roll Puka here. Let's see here. Any other interesting ADPs? Allen, Lamar go round 1. Gibbs falling to 7. This is definitely it is such a tough thing of like balancing recency bias and being a prisoner of the moment. But this round one is just who went off last week. That's what round one is. CeeDee Lamb, Josh Allen, CFC, Lamar Jackson, I guess Jamar Chase. I made the one exception in Derrick Henry. I was the only one who had the courage in round one to draft someone who flopped last week. Where does A.J. Brown go now? Let's look at, well, his ADP is at 24. How about this? I won't take A.J. Brown so we can see if anyone else will take him. I won't take him until round 6. I'll take him in round 6 if he's still there, but we'll let him fall and see if anyone else pulls the trigger. Puka had blood in his eyes, no big deal. He's the definition of a blind seal. Let's see here. What do we want to do? What's the tight end landscape looking about? What I mean, all right, I know what I'm doing. So if you are doing early battle royales, number one, draft a lot of Puka, third round Puka. The other thing that I would be doing as Eggers bleeds down the clock, I would be clicking the shit out of George Kittle. This is the kind of spot where you just want to take advantage of the swaps. George Kittle at 22. Guess what? If he doesn't play, I can get Mark Andrews. I can get Dallas Goedert. I can get Dalton Kincaid. I can get Jake Ferguson. I can get Colston Loveland. I can get Harold Fannin. But I will take the Q tag dip there on George Kittle, who otherwise, like, if George Kittle played that full game, not only would he have racked up at least 15 plus points, he would be a top 10 pick on this slate. So I would buy the discount on him. Which running back do I want to take? Let's play. I don't force the mini correlations, but ETN looked awesome. Cincinnati's defense looks like shit. Let's do Travis Etienne opposite Jamar Chase. Someone did end up taking AJ Brown. So there you go. Buster Boys takes AJ Brown ahead of ADP. He ain't scared. CMC should be 101 playing the Saints. Yeah, I think that's a decent take. I will admit, like, CMC didn't look great yesterday. I mean, just caught a shit ton of balls, but can't say anything bad about his workload. ETN looking good is not good for my best ball summer. I mean, we did get very spoiled with some of our sloppy picks hitting right out of the gate, but I'm not worried about Tootin quite yet. I would be worried if I had a lot of Bigsby, because the whole point of Bigsby was like he's the guy they trust. They're gonna get off to a fast start with him or whatever. Now it's like a pure contingent upside bet with Bigsby, because he needs like an ETN injury, and then he also needs to hold off the much more explosive Bayshell Tootin. It's a very bad squeeze for Bigsby right now. Do you know who else I just think should have a higher ADP based on? I mean, JSN, his workload is insane. 13 targets, 9 receptions. I think he should probably be going higher. So there's my first look team, my first BR team. Jalen Hurts naked, ETN at running back, Jamar Chase, Puka, JSN at wide receiver, George Kittle at tight end. And then I can actually look and see like what my swaps would be. So I'd have Laporta, Warren, Njoku, Goddard, Ferguson, Loveland, Fannin, all as options to swap to on this team. So I'm not going to be drafting a lot of early week teams, but if I were, I would be clicking a lot of George Kittle. Jerry says, what weekly contest do you max on Underdog? I'm going to max the BR, the main BR, the 150 there. And I'm going to try to max all of the side stuff. I didn't get into the Engage 8 yesterday. But basically anything that's like 8 max or lower. So the engage 8, the cover 4, the fullback dive, the bomb. Those are the contests I want to be maxing personally. There's also like the extra point. Maybe as I get more time and I get back into my like routine and schedule, I will maybe dabble with some auto drafting. Nez has an awesome walkthrough in the masterclass course on how to do the auto draft process. And he kind of walks through his entire process for that. So I would say it's not, it wouldn't be what I would recommend if you are, first starting out or whatever, because, it requires some bankroll and stuff like that. But if you are crunched for time, I do recommend his walkthrough here to kind of, to help you out. And I can just screen share a little bit inside the course. I know sometimes like with it, it's hard to like fully tell what the course looks like, but I can show you what Nez added with his auto draft. And so over here, where am I? So it's one of the later sections here. Yeah, here we go. 2.4. So Nez lays out, he has the full, actually, let me just do the preview. This is easier and looks better. I was showing you behind the scenes here. But Nez just uploaded, he has a 22-minute video of his auto draft process. And this is also in video or an audio form. But he also has a course on how to do it, his step-by-step steps, how he won 2,500 auto drafting in the Wildcat last year, and then that full video. So if you hadn't seen the course, this is kind of what it looks like when you are taking it. So there are video versions of all the text, or you can go through and read them. All kinds of data on what the field did last year. We got charts on flex usage, stacking usage for all of this. Scroll the F down analysis on how much you should be scrolling down based on things, expanded quarterback stacking analysis, all kinds of good stuff. And then I was just talking about all the things with George Kittle and swapping. John actually just posted video tutorials for how to utilize swaps on both web and also on mobile. If you're doing it on mobile, there's a screen share here. So if you're new to the swap game on Underdog, highly recommend this. All of this is included in the Underdog Masterclass, including the gems. I am posting the weekly gems there as well. I'm going to post it for both YouTube members and Masterclass members. So we're constantly adding stuff to this, trying to bring you guys as much value as possible. That's underdogmasterclass.com. And yeah, very excited. Like last week was such a chaotic week for me as far as so much going on. And I was obviously very focused on the show on Friday. But man, it feels good to be back in the saddle here. And I'm ready for week 2. We have a lot of data now to work with. Excited to be back in my battle station, and we'll certainly be drafting more teams here. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in this morning. Apologies for the confusion when I scheduled it on accident for 1 p.m. Eastern. Glad we got that straightened out. This show will be every Monday morning, 10 a.m. I'll also post this as usual for the audio listeners. If you guys are on the go in a vacuum podcast feed, I'll get that up there as well. But yeah, good luck in Monday night. May you, advance as many Eliminator teams as possible. May our pick'ems hit. May all of that wonderful stuff happen. And yeah, excited for a full slate of shows this week. It's going to be a good one. And yeah, enjoy the game tonight. Thank you to producer Mark. Join us in the Deposit Kingdom. Appreciate you all. We'll see you guys next time on the Portfolio.